Hey guys, welcome back. Been a little bit. So if you'll bear with me, I'm gonna have to give you just kind of a short, hopefully a short story of how we got where we are from where I posted my last video. I was on a client's property on one of the rivers scouting for beaver on one side. We saw that the dam had been broke out, and I found some bank dens. I did confirm that those were bank dens and that they did indeed collapse. There's backwater and another section where the river cuts across that has been created recently within the last year. I didn't know it was there, so I do have to get on the other side of that property to come down in to do more scouting. However, it's been, I want to say 2 weeks or so, or maybe a little longer. And the reason for that, I couldn't get out on the rivers and whatnot because we've had some really nasty weather up here in Vermont. We had a stretch for quite a while of way minus temperatures. Everything froze. Even trying to get in and out, you were breaking through ice just on the land, because we had some snow and then it melted. Rain came through, melted it. I primarily am in the valleys of all these. Anybody that knows Vermont very well, we have really steep mountains that come everywhere, and everything runs off into all these valleys, and it doesn't take, you know, an hour sometimes for a solid rain, let alone snow melt or anything like that, to bring the water up three, sometimes even 4 feet. So after that massive freeze, we had a snowstorm, not a big one, but it did drop like 6 inches in my area, and then it rained and it got a little bit warm. It wasn't, you know, super warm. It was barely above freezing, 34, 35. I think one day got up to like 36 or something like that. But it was enough where it was melting and raining. And like I said, you combine the snow melt from the mountain on top of the rain on the mountain and everything else coming down through, all the ice that had built up either on the banks of the deeper rivers or over the top of all the smaller tributaries and things, all broke and let loose. Excuse me. And it all came crumbling down through all at once. It was iceberg city everywhere you went, and it was just absolutely insanely dangerous to even think about trying to get out. And I only have one property that has a pond or a wet area that freezes over, that would have been out, you know, safe to get out to trap in. I could have cut through and trapped the runs. However, I trapped those beaver out. They're not there anymore. Until another unit moves in, that was done. So I keep getting calls once in a while from that customer, and he's keeping tabs on things to let me know if he sees any more activity or if he sees anything. Okay, so that brings us to today. We had, again, a minor warm spell. It wasn't much above freezing, but it was above freezing for a couple days now. And it's raining on and off, spitting rain and mixed snow and whatnot today. And what had gone down for the water levels is starting to rise again. I had a call. I was going to go out today because I have Fridays. I work night shifts, so Thursday night's my Friday, and then I have all day Friday off into Saturday and all day Sunday, and then I go in Sunday night. Anyway, I was going to go out today on the back side of that river to do the rest of the scouting on that property. However, the day before yesterday, I received a phone call from another client that I had helped in the past down on one of the main rivers that flooded a cornfield that they had, and he wanted me to go back in there because he thought that he'd seen recent beaver activity and wanted to get ahead of it with all this spring thaw. Don't want it out in the field Obviously you want to try to get the fields to dry up as quick as possible so that you can get in there and plow and plant and whatnot. So I went down there anyways real quick, and I saw no sign of recent beaver activity at all in there. However, it was slick, it was dangerous, there's crap floating down the river, ice and everything else on top of, you know, trees and whatnot. So I didn't do an extensive look, but I looked enough where within a half a mile of river, I didn't find any new signs. So I called him, told him everything looks good right now. However, everything's thawing, water's opening up. You're going to start getting traveling. It's that time of year. It's February 2nd right now. So March, definitely, you're going to start getting traveling and breeding and whatnot. So there will be more activity in there. So we'll see what happens there. But I just dropped my kids off at school, and lo and behold, I get another phone call from another customer, not 5 miles from that place, on a different part of that same river, and he has supposedly activity there, and their borderline flooding over, and that's a residential area. There's homesteads there and things like that. So that's a little bit more of a priority for me as a nuisance trapper. However, with the water levels rising as fast as they are with the melt off and the runoff, I have to look back before I run down there. I'm going to look while I'm here. It used to be in Vermont, you could only break a dam down a foot per day for water reasons. So I got to double check and make sure that's still accurate. If that's the case, I may not be able to get ahead of it. So it may really limit me on what I can do to try to get to these beaver. Their runs may be super deep where I just can't get in there and get them. And when I say super deep, I mean 7, 8, maybe 9 feet deep. I'm not scuba diving to get into a run. So, whereas normally it would be, you know, waist, maybe chest high, pushing it. But, so I'm going to go down and take a look after I check the regs here and see what we can do. Again, it is sprinkling and on and off, a little heavier and spitting snow and whatnot. And I am only on my phone still. So I will try to get what I can of it for you. So I guess I just wanted to apologize for not being able to put any content out recently. I've been struggling here with the weather and with everything going on, and it's been right from the deer season on. It's just been really, really bad and inconsistent weather. So stick with me. We'll see what we can do. And if you guys like this stuff that I'm doing, I'm not just fishing, I'm not just hunting, I'm not just trapping, I'm not, you know, we try to do a little bit of everything because, you know, that's what we do up here. And a lot of people don't like that. They want to see just trapping, or they want to see just fishing, or they want to see just, you know, hunting or whatever. And you know, we're all about education for youth and anybody else that wants to learn. And, you know, that's just the way it is. But if you do like the content, you like what we're doing, it would be a very major help if you guys would subscribe to the channel for me. That helps out a lot. And it, you know, you can like any of the videos that you want if you do like them, but please hit that subscribe button. That helps out tremendously. And I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. Like I said, I'm going to check the regs, and we're just 2 minutes down the road from this place, so stick with us. I'll be right back. Yep, just real quick, guys, here I am. I'm going down this guy's driveway, and sure enough, there's the railroad tracks up here. I don't know if you can see, and look at this, and it's actually back behind me going over the driveway. So yeah, I'd say there's a problem. Let's see what we got. Well, guys, I went and got ahead of myself here. So you see where a lot of this gets built up, ends up flooding out into that cornfield. And of course they're up in there when the corn's in, you know, taking corn and whatnot, back, dragging it back down in here. And So I found a spot down in here, kind of a nice little spot, a little slack water in the river. Main river's right here, and they've been coming up and down here, so I'm going to do a caster mount set, and I don't have any footholds with me, so I'm going to use a 330 and some bait and a little bit of lure and see what we come up with. But now that I went and got that all muddied up for you, and you could have seen how nice of a little run that is. But anyway, here we are, and I'll show you after it's set. All right guys, there's that set made. I didn't have a whole lot to work with right here, but everything's dead, like brittle dead. Caster mount with caster and all kind of lury stuff, and some bait sticks there for them, and all kinds of goodies. So hopefully they'll come up and check that out. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. There's one of the dams that rolled over like the other place did. There's a dam up there, dam way down there. So there's another set. We got 4 in today. Sorry I couldn't video everything because I was having issues with the rain and the weather, and nothing wanted to cooperate. Oops, there's my finger in the way. Nothing wanted to cooperate, so I did the best that I could. When we come back to check, I'll make sure that I show every set. I did set a trail camera, as long as the battery's holding up in this colder weather, on one of them that I think is the better sets. So hopefully we'll get some footage on that. But stay tuned, guys. All right, guys. So we're back. This is the place that I set the 4 traps on yesterday. So check day number 1. I do believe that I finally did find the hut on my way out yesterday. So we're going to take a look at that later on, see if I can get that set up. I brought 2 more body grips with me. I saw otter tracks down here while I was setting beaver traps yesterday. I did bring 1 foothold with me. Unfortunately, I don't have any more right now. I do have some lined up that I'm going to go grab. But those are drowners for beaver. I want to try to set the dams here in Vermont. I've got till the end of February. As of March 1st, you have to be set. You can't be any closer than 10 feet to the dam or the hut due to breeding and traveling and things like that. So it does make it a little bit harder, but it's still not that difficult as far as, you know, sets and things like that. But we can't use snares here, so I can't set up baited sets in the water unless I use body gripping traps, which is a pain here to do with the water current, setting your traps off. But anyway, as you can see, today I finally coaxed one of my fucking little helpers into coming and along and checking shit out, and we'll see how we do. But stick with us and we'll go do some checks. Well guys, here we are. You can see we checked the first set down that way. Nothing in it, everything's still set. Left it alone, came down here, checked this one. We got one here. He's not a big one, but it's a beaver, and I'm nuisance trapping, so everyone's got to go. They want them gone. Unfortunately, I'd like to leave kits or something for another litter, but this is an area where if you give it a little bit of time, there's going to be another unit move in. It's a rapidly growing area for beaver. There's always movement here. So there's never going to be a shortage of beaver here, but I would prefer not to catch kits. But like I said, it's a nuisance job, and unfortunately that's part of it. You got to do what you got to do, and you try to use the best you can out of them and not waste anything. And, you know, good ethics. Try to be as ethical as possible. So, all right, guys, we're going to get him out of the trap and get reset, and then we'll move on. Okay, guys, well, we're back. So we've checked 3 traps. We've got 1 beaver. And then this is my 4th. I was wrong, I do have 5 traps here. This trap is gone, and if you look right there, we got another one. I can't tell how big from here he is, but he looks like he might be another kit or maybe a small 2-year-old, but we're gonna get him up here and take a look at him. All right, hang in there. They got two enough to ice over. Not bad though.
Nope.
Oh, he's a little bigger. That's a good size 2-year-old.
Cool.
Almost an adult.
Huh? There you go.
But you see how far he got out here? That's why you anchor your traps on. So many people say, well, if you set right, you don't need to anchor your traps. Well, I got news for you. A good sized beaver, they can go a ways, you know, before they die. And,
you may never get your trap back.
Yeah. That's another reason why I like drowning rigs on footholds. They go down into that deep water, they cannot come back. So unless they twist their foot off, which is why you have swivels and stuff on there, they're not coming back. They're down there. But anyway, there's a good one. Look at that thing.
Oh yeah.
Look, flat tail on that.
Oh yeah, he's a bit bigger.
Yeah, he's an adult. I thought he was a 2-year-old the way he was setting.
Yeah.
You take a look at that thing. He's all there. That's cool. And that's one of my older, weaker traps.
Whoop. Did the job.
Huh?
It did the job.
Yep. That's one of my older, weaker traps. They set off on me yesterday.
Yep.
So I was really thinking if I got a decent sized beaver, it might not hold it. You know, there you go. Snap him right on the neck like they're supposed to. It don't take much. So, all right, I'm gonna have you shut the camera off and I'm gonna hand him up to you. So
Action.
all right, guys, so here they are. Sometimes it's hard to tell by the sun glare or whatever, but you can see the size difference between these two beavers. Good adult. That's probably a 2-year-old, maybe a young 2-year-old. Still a good beaver. Like I said, we're nuisance trapping, so everything's coming out. And we're just going to get them out of here. You guys stick with us, and we'll have more for you. But I'm showing my buddy here a little bit. He's never really been around trapping a whole lot. How I suitcase these beavers, and you just use a strap or a piece of rope. You put some loops in it, put it around one foot, around the other, throw it right over your shoulder, just like a purse. And walk out with it. It's a lot easier on your back and a lot easier on your legs trying to huck these things out of here, especially on mud when you're going up through and sliding and sinking. You just got way better control over them. So we're gonna get these guys out of here, and I got to go up farther and see if we did actually find that hut. Try to find some more spots to set, and we'll get some more video from there. But you guys stick with us, all right? All right, guys, we're back again. Same spot, same river, just down farther. We're probably, what do you think, 600 yards down?
At least.
And I finally found the hut over here. Unfortunately, it's on the other side of the river, which is somebody else's property, and I have yet to be able to get them to answer me. So we're on the opposite side, which is still okay because the wind blows across this river and the scent's going to get out through there, plus the castor running down in oil and all that down into the river water, and they'll smell it. Anyway, this is a little bit deeper run than I'd like to set, but I'm going to set it anyways because it has been active and it's right across from that hut. So the thing about setting closer to huts is you may end up with smaller ones, because the closer to the hut you get, the bigger ones tend to travel more. But as you see way down there where we were, we did end up catching the, well, I consider it a 2-year-old, but it was a young 2-year-old. So, but the young ones tend to stay pretty close to home. So anyway, it is a beautiful area. It's just the beaver are doing so much damage in here and flooding so much property. It's unreal, the damage that they have in here. But I'm going to hand you over to my buddy, and we'll try to get this set hopefully on video. It's going to be a hard set. Like I said, I got to try to keep it somewhat suspended. I am going to set it on the bottom, but it's going to be up higher than I would normally like it. It's hard to see. There are old tracks in here where they've been running down, sliding down through. So we're going to set this in the hopes that the lure will bring them up curious, more of a curiosity set, and then go from there. But I'm going to hand you over to him, and we'll try to get started here. So you can see right here, I'm almost crotch deep. If I take a step backwards, I'm crotch deep. And it's just such a steep embankment. It's amazing what these animals will go up and down. They'll climb up straight up banks for some reason and go do whatever they got to do, and then they come back down. And I've showed my buddy here, there's trails and mud runs and old bank dens like this one right over here that's all collapsed in from the weather and freezing and thawing, and the water level going up and just billowing into the hole, and it warps it out, and just next thing you know it collapses, or the farmer will be going, it'll have a thin wall on it, thin roof, if you will, And the farmer will be going down through on their field doing whatever on the edge. Next thing you know, the tractor's boom, gone down into a hole, and it's just, there's all kinds of damage, not just tree and whatever destruction and flooding that they can do. They can do some serious damage to the land itself. They're good for the environment, but you got to keep the populations in check, because they start fighting, they can get beaver fever, they start dying from infections, they start, you know, and it spreads. If you get a colony or 2 colonies even sometimes in an area, they fight, it spreads. You know, beaver fever is, I don't know what the actual term for it is, but it's not good. I've got it before by handling the fur without gloves on, and my arm swelled up and I had a 1/2 inch of fluid underneath my skin, where you could literally take your skin and go back and forth like that. And it took forever with the medication and everything that I had to do. And some of that may have to do, like if they're around like poison oak or you know, whatever, that may have had a contributing factor to it. But the fact is they were sick. And that's just by being overpopulated. Just like with any animal, you get the coyotes. You got coyotes that are running around full of mange. It's spreading like wildfire, and they end up dying because, you know, it just kills them. The mites and everything, and the whatever lice, I guess, or whatever it is, they take all the nutrients away from the animal. They're struggling, they get kicked out of the herd or the pack, and they're trying to survive, and they end up getting into people, running into and causing issues. They become a problem. Then you gotta, you know, it's just easier if you can manage the population and have a healthy population right from the start with any animal. Coon, you know, possum, they're scavengers, they clean things up. It's great to have them around, but if they're overpopulated, they're a real problem. And a lot of people can't understand that. You know, you look at the human population, there's people out there that say, you know what, the world's overpopulated, it can't sustain us. Well, there's a sad truth and reality to that, you know, but, you know, other than some of these people that, big farmers and things like that want to cause problems, you're not going to go around managing people. You know, they manage it enough with all the disease and the cancer and all that kind of crap. But they don't think that it's good enough. You know, they want to blame global warming, and that's a whole different conversation. But it's the same aspect. You get animals overpopulated, they're not only causing a problem for us, they're causing a problem to themselves. They don't even realize they're doing it. They have no control over it. So you manage a healthy population, and they can thrive. But if you let it just go rampant, there's going to be all kinds of sickness, disease, fighting, and they get tore wide open. Anybody that's seen beaver teeth, they cut these trees down like chainsaws. I mean, you get a beaver tear into another beaver, open that flesh up, they got a wound sometimes that long, that deep, going all the way through them. Sometimes their insides are hanging out. You know, and they're still alive. Now, that's nature, I get it. But if you can stop that from happening and have a healthy population, I think that's better. That's just my opinion, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that think the same way I do. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm over. We're gonna set this trap. I still gotta anchor it off at some point, but for right now, with this being as deep as it is, I wanna see just how it goes first. The good thing is the main current's out there. This is kind of a slack pool, so hopefully, you know, they're more apt to come in here to take a break from the current. And they smell this and they'll come up and investigate it, and we'll end up connecting on them. But then again, maybe not. You never know. Hard telling, not knowing. They're animals. Animals are going to do what they want to do. And that's just the nature of it. So, spot like this, you can use your springs to help you as a base. You can see that trap is sitting, you know, and you can adjust how you want it, where you want it. You can stick the springs right down in the mud before you set your sticks in there. And that water is every bit as cold as it looks. And that'll help you stabilize your trap, and it gets things out of the way. So if you've got floating debris coming down through and it pulls off the main current and pulls up in here, less likely it's going to set your trap off. So anyway, so we'll start getting this thing hooked up here. You want it solid. It doesn't have to be rock solid, but you want it so that if they bump into it, they're not pushing it backwards before they set it off, because then they know something's up. But anyway, this is mud. We did have a little bit of a problem resetting down on that last spot because there was rocks in there, and the mud on that bank had started freezing a little bit, so we had a little bit harder time pushing our sticks down in, but we got them. It's reset. Those of you that didn't see, we got one good adult, and we're gonna get a weight on that, and then I'll record that when I do that. But I got to change new batteries in my scale. before I do that. Biggest beaver I ever personally caught was 62 or 64 pounds, I don't remember. And I have a picture of my dad with that. I caught the same day the two biggest otter I ever caught in my life, a male and a female mate pair. One in a foothold in a culvert. He was 7'6", and the female was 7 foot. And they're the biggest ones I've ever caught in my life. And I happened to catch all those on the same day, within 300 yards of each other. So it was a really cool day. And my dad's was proud as a peacock, and I got a picture of him there with him. And that beaver was so big he looked square. He was almost as wide as he was long. So, and he was fun to pack out, I'll tell you. But anyway, I have seen him. People around, like old Doc Hughes. That's, you know, my dad used to trap with him. He was his trapping partner. He was the guy that taught my dad how to trap. And he, you know, old Indian type. He's caught them up in the 80+ pound range, and they stretched over 80 inches, and they're just beautiful animals, you know. And the size of these things they can get, you know, down in other places I've heard of them getting 100 pounds. That's a big animal, you know. The damage that they can do at that point, they're hauling full-size trees down into the water, you know, and no more of this little stick crap. They're not playing. They'll take a main river like this one and they'll plug that thing up so quick. It's not even funny. Anywho, I want to make sure that I can get my safeties back off when I need to. Yep, good solid there. Did I have one more smaller one or no? Here, can you break that one off for me? Right up about where that notch is. I know this whole area is not Cecil friendly.
No, it's not.
Those of you that don't know my my buddy Cecil, he's my I call him my husky ninja, because he's what he considers man size. I'm not man sized, I'm little. But that's okay. You want to push it down in there and try to get it as solid as you can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be rock solid, but you want it as solid as you can have it. Sometimes you gotta adjust, but that's all right. So you can see that trap wants to tip, and that's not good. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll end up putting another couple sticks in here just to try to help stabilize it. You don't want to use anything green or anything even close to alive. They'll come up and they'll chew your sticks off and set your trap off, and then they're gone, and that's very annoying. So stick something down in there. I know this is kind of a little bit of a long video, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you're trying to think while you're on your feet. This is a new area to me. I would have normally came in and scouted this out, but it was a last minute deal. The guy called me in a panic because his driveway's getting washed out and flooded and the water was going over it. And so I'm trying to help somebody out blind, basically. Now you can see that's more solid. That's the way you want it. All right. So don't stick your hand in there and set the trigger off like I did yesterday and end up getting caught. I had a trap that was a little weaker and a little older, and I bumped the trap jaw itself, not even the trigger, and it set off, and I, like an idiot, I was stuck in a trap. So you don't want to do that. You want to be careful. It can be dangerous. So now we got that set. Make sure I find my chain so that I can run my anchor line, and I like to run my anchor lines a little long, and the reason for that, like that bigger beaver, you see how he got out in the water a good distance with that trap on him, even though he was caught right by the head. You know, they can fight for a while, especially them big ones. And if they break your anchor off and they end up out in there, you got fun getting them. That's if they don't float down river somewhere, and then you may never find them. So you always want to have them anchored off good. So I'll have this set up here so that I can run my cable or wire or whatever. But I don't want it falling back down in here, and I got to get back down in here and get it. So just set it up here where I can get it from the bank for now. Now that trap's solid, you can take your safeties off. Once you take these safeties off, some guys wire them so they don't interfere with the trap. But the way this is right now, I've got them angled down to help. Those springs are helping stabilize that trap. Boy, that water is cold. So they're angled down so that if they do, the triggers are going to slide. And they're not going to interfere with the trap setting off. So that trap is live right now. A lot of times I'll take some grass or something and put over the top of that just to kind of make a little cubby. Right here, we don't have a whole lot, so we may go offline here for a minute. I'll have him stop the video and go see if he can find something while I'm still standing down in here. I'll put the safeties back on and cover this up. And if not, then we're just going to leave it the way it is, and we'll see you tomorrow after we come back and do another check. So if I don't see you in a few minutes, we will see you tomorrow. All right, thank you guys. All right, so here we are. I originally had the 5 traps down in the lower area, left them in overnight. And new areas that I don't know, I always tend to do a 24-hour check. Sometimes I'll do that the first few days just to make sure my traps aren't getting on a river, especially stuff floating down through, setting your traps off, or there are animals in it or whatever. I'd rather have traps free and ready to go and when animals come through. So we got 2 for 5 down in that lower area. We got 2 more traps set up in the upper area up by the hut. We got a little bit of video of setting there. So if you guys have questions, you know, feel free to ask. You know, anytime you get into a new area, it's easier if you go out and scout first, mark your locations where you want to set, then you're not backtracking and running around. And we ran into that a little bit today, but this is an area that's real populated, and I don't like marking my traps. I have to have tags on them by law, but I don't like marking my spots because people see the flags and it's just an invitation for somebody to go over, check out, see what's going on, and probably rip you off. So nothing worse than coming up to your sets and the trap's gone, and it's not because an animal took it, it's because a human took it. And people like me, we do it, you know, to help people out or whatever. We don't have all kinds of money, so going out buying new traps at 20 bucks a pop or 25 bucks a pop, you know, it sucks. So be considerate of everybody, help everybody out that you can if you can along the way. You got somebody around you that's new or, you know, whatever, try to help them learn. And if you're the new guy, find somebody around your area that's experienced and ask them for help. You know, I'm sure they'll be happy to take you around, as long as you don't come in and set up on their spots afterwards, you know. So just like deer hunting. But anyway, here we are at the end of the day. I'm going to go get these guys taken care of, and we'll be back tomorrow for a check. And I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.